Welcome to the Rich Flow of Life podcast. Join Valerie Kanay, the award-winning authority author, as she takes you on a journey for your personal evolution. Valerie Kanay talks to enlightened featured guests who hold the keys to unlock your unique life situation. They each bring to the table their very powerful personal spin to inspire and empower you to learn to step up your game into the rich flow of life.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Valerie Kanay, and today our featured guest is Deborah Austin, who I'm so proud, pleased, and honored to have joining us. Deborah is what we call a true impact person, and that means she's a born leader, and she loves helping people develop and sharpen their communication and leadership skills. So let me tell you more about her. Deborah is an award-winning speaker, a writer, and a communications coach. Also, Deborah is the founder of the Visionary Women Entrepreneurs and Professionals Network. Deborah is ranked among the highest and the finest as a Distinguished Toastmaster member, and she has over a decade as a professional in the media, and she's even worked with the Toronto Star newspaper. Oh, wow. Deborah really has put it down in her profession, big style, as she's won a great number of public speaking competitions in the Toronto area. She's a real giver at heart. She serves her community, and she gives back totally and completely. Therefore, Deborah tells me that her greatest gift in the world and her biggest passion is to help people be their very best, their absolute best, to help become the speaker that you're destined to be. So welcome, Deborah, to our program.
Hi, Valerie. I'm so excited to be here with you today. It is truly an honor to be on your show. You have such beautiful energy, and every show that you do enlightens and informs your listener. So I'm delighted to be here.
Awesome, Deborah. And I'm so grateful that you decided to be with us today because, man, you have a lot of great gifts and talents to share and everything. So I just want to jump right in there with you and tell me what got you started on your journey into this whole public speaking, communication, and presentation style of life, because it's just great.
Well, I think my journey is similar to many people's journeys in that after university, I graduated, I started to work. And as you outlined earlier, I have a lot of experience in marketing communications and the media and also working in the public sector. And what I found is in all of these positions, I had the ability to lead, mentor, and coach people. And I've also been a very active volunteer, and I really believe in giving back to the community. So I also became involved in different nonprofit organizations where I mentored and coached people. And my involvement in Toastmasters, where I really got to hone those communication skills and also my leadership and mentoring skills. And I found that I was able to give such laser-focused feedback to people that they were getting results to enhance their leadership and their communication skills. So based on my professional experience and also my volunteer and nonprofit experience, a lot of people said to me, Deborah, you'd be great as a coach. You should really consider this as a profession. And lo and behold, I jumped into the entrepreneurial world in my own training, coaching, and consulting business. And I'm also a speaker as well. And I just love it because I love seeing people develop their skills so that they can become the speakers that they're destined to be.
That's awesome. And that's a great thing that you say that they're destined to become, because it is a process. So you don't have to be so afraid in the beginning on the onset. But as you know, Deborah, and I know because we out here with entrepreneurs all the time, there's so many people are so afraid of public speaking for whatever reasons. And we know this. This is one of the things that people most fear in all of life is to be a public speaker. But I know that you have ways and techniques to be able to help people transform that fear. How do you do that?
And Valerie, just going back to my story, and I want to share because I'm living embodiment of how people can transform their public speaking skills. At heart, I'm an introvert. And an introvert simply means that how we manage our energy. I love people, but because I'm a child, my natural tendency, I love to reflect and contemplate. And it was my mother who really encouraged me to say, join Toastmasters. And through my involvement in Toastmasters, I developed my skills. I worked hard. And as I said, I mentored and coached people to the point where I won several public speaking awards, right? So it was really getting in touch with who I am as a person and really transforming my own mindset to believe that I have value to be able to deliver a message. So I think a lot of that goes to the internal work. But the reason why people are so afraid, Valerie, of public speaking and presenting in front of an audience is because it really goes to that primal fear of rejection, right? We all want to be accepted by our peers and our colleagues. So it really is almost an ancient fear. And so when you speak in front of a group, in a sense, you're putting yourself on display to potentially be rejected if people don't receive your message. And that really goes to the core of who we are as people. But what I often say, and what I do in my coaching, is that to transform that energy of fear, we really need to think of it as service. So we are in front of a group as entrepreneurs, business people, or professionals in the corporate world. When you speak in front of a group, it's a service. You're delivering a valuable message that people want to hear. And you have to realize that your message is going to resonate with your tribe. People really are going to gain value from your message and use it to transform their lives.
I hear you. So a lot of what you're saying, Deborah, is not just so much the words coming away from your mouth. It's what's coming from your whole spirit, your soul, your heart, everything that you embody, because your message is so different than perhaps the next person's message. And so with your coaching and your communication and presentations of people, you're able to help them hone in on your distinct message. And so once you realize that you have something very distinct to say, that makes it more powerful, right?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the key mistakes that people who present in front of an audience think. They think that it's all about them.
Oh,
Yes, they're the vessel. They may be the subject matter expert and they're delivering that information, but it is really how the audience gets value from your message. So just simply by transforming that energy to one of service, thinking, how can I serve my audience? Like if no one buys my product, program, or service, I want the members of my audience to leave better than when they came in and they heard me speak. And of course, as entrepreneurs, ultimately, we do want people to invest in us. But really, if you just go with that energy that you really want to help people, I guarantee that will just sort of transform the energy that when you're standing up in front of the group, it becomes, how can I deliver that value? And it's not so self-focused.
yeah. And that's what I love talking about with you too, Deborah, is because like you say, or like we know, you won all those competitions and stuff like that, and you had to work on yourself to get to that level. So you were really willing to put into the work. And so with a little bit of effort, you can get there to that space and place where you can transform that energy, just like you're saying. So let's break it down a little bit further and give some of the fundamentals of public speaking so that folks can know that it is very possible and doable for them. What are some of the fundamentals we can know about?
It's really interesting, Valerie. Unless you've taken a course in public speaking, a lot of people just jump into presenting, but some of us were never really taught what some of the fundamentals are. And people group the fundamentals differently. There's 5 fundamentals, there are 7 fundamentals, but regardless of how many groups you want to categorize them into, I believe there's a few really essential ones, and I won't go through all of them because we simply don't have the time. But one of the key ones is knowing your purpose. What is your purpose of your presentation? Is it to persuade? Is it to inform? Is it to motivate? Is it to entertain? That is a key thing that people need to be aware of in order to get their message across. Another thing is people need to know your audience. And when I say know your audience, that means know the demographics. Who are you speaking to? Speaking to a group of doctors or healthcare professionals would be very different from speaking to a group of IT professionals. Maybe with doctors, you have to use jargon, and also with IT professionals, but the groups would be very different. Or are you going to be speaking to a mainly female audience, right? So knowing some key things about your audience can really help you to develop your message so that your message resonates effectively with your audience. So that definitely is a fundamental, knowing your audience. And knowing speech organization. You really want to take your audience on a journey with a very clear introduction to introduce your topic and what you're going to be speaking about, your body, the key points and some facts and storytelling that you want to incorporate, and then your conclusion, right? Reiterating all your points and then having a call to action, right? So speech organization is definitely another fundamental. And of course, your language usage, how you use your voice and your body language. So these are some of the key fundamentals of public speaking. And there are a few more, but I know just in the interest of our time today, those are some of the main ones.
All right, awesome. And see, that's why you're such a winner, because you know all this stuff and you put it together so easily. I feel like I could just go out there on the stage and put together my little presentation about podcasts right now. So thank you for breaking it down so elegantly like that because we look at things from a full spectrum and that's what happens sometimes we bite off too much and we just say, "Oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed," but you broke it down so strategically and so that's what makes it fun. And like I'm just so enthusiastic, like I said, I'm ready to jump out there and do it myself based on that little bit you just said. So, what are some of the other techniques that speakers can use to engage an audience? Because sometimes we feel like, it's one sided. You're the speaker, so you're just talking, talking, talking at people, but you want it to be engaging. You want that bounce back, I throw you the ball, you put it back to me. How do you engage them effectively?
Well, there's a couple of things that speakers can do to engage their audience effectively. And one of the key things is how they use their nonverbal language or their body language. And, studies have shown that, words just are a piece of the puzzle when it comes to communication. Our body language can play a big role in that. So as a speaker, you want to make sure that you're using body language that is actually going to help you to build rapport with your audience. So having open body language, making sure that your arms are not glued to your side and that you're using gestures effectively in order to invite your audience in for that conversation. And simple like smiling, right? I cannot tell you, Valerie, how many times I've gone to a presentation and the speaker is brilliant, but it's poker face. There's no passion. This is an important topic. Have some passion and smile. Like you have passion for your show and the information you're giving to your audience. So something as simple as a smile can do what to help to build that rapport. So using your body language and gestures effectively, smiling. In terms of actual oral communication, no one likes listening to someone who is monotone. You have to get vocal variety going, modulate your voice, use different pitch to really ensure that you're, adding some excitement to what you're speaking about. So again, vocal variety and making sure you're not speaking in a monotone also helps.
So now all these things are learnable. You can learn every part of this. Can you even learn the passion part? Can that be learned from somebody who, like you said, if they got a bland face, they're just standing there, they're brilliant with the information, but you're kind of monotone. Are these all things that they can learn, Deborah?
I think passion really comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes how we're indoctrinated, we're not really taught to show exuberance for something that we really love. And I think that if you have an important message and you love it and you're confident in your message and you stand by your message, show that passion. Be able to feel that passion so your audience can feel and make them care. That's one way you can make your audience care, by showing that passion. It could be on a health matter, it could be on a financial matter, but let your audience know that you deeply care by conveying that passion. But a lot of the communications tips and techniques, they can be learned. And Toastmasters is a great way to learn some of those fundamentals. So no matter where people are at in their lives, realize that public speaking and presentation skills, it is a skill that can be learned, right? You don't have to just accept the status quo and say, well, I'm not a Tony Robbins. I'll never speak like that, right? Because he's the model, right? To be around the stage and high energy. And I love Tony Robbins, right? But we have to cultivate our authentic styles that are unique to us.
Everybody's different. And so I get what you're saying. You can hone in on your difference, embellish that, and share that. And you will often find out at times that what you have is so treasured if you just give yourself a chance to do, to be yourself. It would a little bit what you say, what you told me before, like polishing. You like to make the diamond. Tell me, how did you say that about making diamonds out of the rough or something? You told me the other.
Well, we're all diamonds at heart. I truly believe that we're all God's creation. We were put on earth to deliver a message and be the best that we can be. But sometimes due to our life experiences and what happens in life, we need some coaching, we need some mentoring along the path. So my job as a public speaking and presentation skills coach is to really help people to polish their communication skills so that they can really shine, be it in the workplace or when they're delivering sales presentations. That is my job. And it gives me so much pleasure to be able to help people to transform their communication skills. I'll just give you a classic example, if that's okay, Valerie.
That's okay. Let's do it. Let's get in there. I'm loving this.
Wonderful client. On paper, he had an undergrad degree in computer science and an MBA. And he was downsized from his job. And then he was referred to me as a referral. And he couldn't understand. He was getting interviews, but he just wasn't closing the deal, so to speak. He wasn't getting any job offers, and he couldn't understand why. Most people have the problem they send their resume out and they're not getting any calls. So he had the opposite. He was actually getting interviews to potentially, state his skills in front of an employer. So when we did our first coaching session together, I observed him raw and I understood it right from the start. The person that I saw on the paper was not in his resume, was not the person that was in front of me. This was a person who had so many gifts, so many talents. He had handled multi-million-dollar IT budgets, but yet he was coming to the table as he didn't have any value, right? So that's one of the things that I do in my coaching is we do the mindset piece. You can talk about tips and tactics, but you have to believe that you have the capability to improve your skills, right? So that's what I say about polishing the diamond. We're all diamonds, but sometimes we just need a little bit of help. So through several coaching sessions, I was able to help him through his nonverbal communication and some other things to really come across as the winner and really star that he was.
That's awesome. So you were able to give him some of the tips and the techniques that would be able to change his whole dynamics of interviewing so that he can close in on some of those great offers, huh?
That's right. And he called me to say a few weeks later that he actually had 3 six-figure job offers.
Wow. Awesome. Well, anyways, as our time is nearing the end, I do want to give you this opportunity, Deborah, to let people know how they can work with you and get part in this great stuff that you know, just like you turn this whole thing around. You can do the same for others. So who do you really represent? Is it newbies, seasoned veterans in the field? Tell us a little bit. Who is it for? And tell us, how we can hook into you also.
I believe that I could create value for anyone, but really my sort of ideal client is people who are probably at their early stage to mid-level career paths. But I've also worked with entrepreneurs who just want to build up some more confidence when they're speaking in front of a group. Right. And one of the key things that people can do to get in contact with me is that they can contact my website, which is www.deborah.angelaustin.com. And I have a free 5-day e-course that gives tips and techniques on how to become a more effective speaker that people are free to sign up for. And if they want to email me to potentially explore some coaching opportunities, they can simply send me an email at deb@deborah.angelaustin.com. And Valerie, if I can just leave one thing with your listeners, it's this: start. So many people hold themselves back. Writing a book, it could be starting a business, it could be traveling the world, starting an art project, because they feel they're not ready. I've learned that we're all on borrowed time and we need to make those baby steps, even if they're not perfect. I often say we are perfect in our imperfection.
So I like that. Say that again. You're perfect in your imperfections?
In God's eyes, I believe that we are perfect. And people need to start. So even if they feel that their communication skills right now are not where they want to be and they feel that they're a lost cause, they're not. They can do things like joining Toastmasters and start to build those fundamental skills, right? They can seek out a mentor or a coach who is further along the path than them, like me, and work with to help them. And the key thing is starting and believing that you have the value that you want to put out into the world and that you're willing to invest in yourself.
Gotcha. So don't let any type of fear, negativity, the sluggish mindset hold you back. If you just got that smallest inclination, I hear what you're saying, Deborah, just move forward with it and act on it. I even share it with you like I do so many people before I even start with this whole podcasting thing. I just thought I was talking to people on the phone because when I started, I was just talking to people on the phone. And then I had someone to tell me, said, no, you're doing podcasts. So I was like, wow, whoa, I'm blown back. So a lot of times, you're speaking to your friends, you're speaking to your family members, you're speaking in church or wherever you are. You think you're just talking or, just like going at it. And you don't even know that you're really doing something really phenomenal, that you are actually a public speaker. But because you haven't given yourself a chance to get into the groove of it, you don't know that. So Deborah is simply saying that if you have any inclination that it is your calling, then give her a call and contact her and let her put you on the road to success because she is the one and only that can do that. I know that because I know her personally. So Deborah, on that note, I don't take lightly that you took your time out to be with Valerie Kanay, and I thank you so much. And I just want to say that I do love you dearly.
Valerie, thank you. Thank you so much for this interview. I feel blessed to have participated, and thank you for the platform that you have created for authors, entrepreneurs, and speakers, and other people who have a message to share and get that out to your audience. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Rich Flow of Life podcast with host Valerie Kanay. We're most appreciative you took the time to be with us, and thank you. For more action, go subscribe to Valerie Kanay Talks YouTube channel and like us on Facebook at Valerie Kanay Talks and follow us on Twitter at Valerie Kanay. Until next time, we love ya.